Well, good morning. This is sort of what Disney would call a soft opening. I just thought I'd go ahead and sign in and be here and maybe see somebody one and hear myself talk, which I don't really like to do. Maybe one of these days I really ought to start wearing real shirts again. But maybe not. I got a tune in my head. Not even sure where I heard it now. I'm going to turn myself off over there so it don't echo. And then I'm just going to sit here and talk to myself. I probably should clean my glasses. Man, I got to get my eyes checked. I couldn't focus on them a few minutes ago. It's like my eyes got locked and probably on the screen too much. Oh, I know what it is. It's that song that Elena posted, the Sweet Lady of Waiaoli, or something like that. Waiaoli. Was that right? I think that was it. I bet I still, no, maybe I don't. Maybe I do. Carol's Lounge. Yeah, there she is. Good morning, Carol. I was listening to the Sweet Lady of Holy. Crap, I could say it a minute ago. Holy. Holy. That was it. How are you this morning? I hope well. I also hope that the note I sent you about writing and stuff didn't overwhelm or disturb you. If it did, I apologize. Please don't take it to heart. Yes, it was. I thought that was quite interesting. Hey, Doug, welcome in. I thought that was pretty neat. It's good that somebody remembered her and wrote about it. Hello, Tina. I think she is. She may not be on yet, Tina, but she was going to try to be here. I told her she should come on and talk about her leg, her knee accident. So I didn't tell anybody any false information. I really, it, it may. Hey, Diana. Good morning. She was helping me in the shower and slipped, and I use a shower chair, probably TMI here, but she slipped and got underneath it and twisted up her knee, and she has artificial knees already, and man, I thought she'd really screwed it up. And well, she'll tell you I was kind of fussy about it. I was just really worried. But the swelling seems to be going down, and while it's still really stiff, and she's got PT for it starting next week, which will be good for her to get it loosened back up. Man, it swelled up like a small cantaloupe. Or so I'm trying to think of something that size. It wasn't big as a regular cantaloupe, but maybe a little one. Oh, Doug, that's no good, especially cutting grass. I've twisted my knee more than once doing that when I was younger. You want to stand up and say hi while you're awake? You want to say hi to Carol? Miss Carol's here. Miss Tina, Mr. Doug, and Miss Diana with the Basset Hounds. You and her Basset Hounds, I think, have a lot in common. Come here. Come up here. Please. Stand up. Okay. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Diana, that's a really good reason not to cut grass. What's Mike say about that? Yeah, it is, Tina. I just don't need to be. She couldn't help it. I mean, Carol said, hello, Super Teddy. Now he's being super diva or something. He's looking at me and he's thinking about it, but he's probably not gonna get up. But there's news on the Teddy front. He started sleeping with me again. Danny and Morgan say hi. That's Miss Tina's dogs. But Morgan's like you. Morgan's still in bed. Anyway, he's finally started getting up in bed with me again. I guess I don't know if that means the ghost of Spooky has moved on, or if he's just made amends with us or something. Hey, there's my buddy Uncas. Boy, do we have some fun stuff today. Hey there.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm having trouble with my ensemble this morning, and I'm a little late.
Well, you're allowed to call. You're not late. I got on early. It's no big deal.
What's going on?
Oh, we're just sitting here.
We got all kind of humans in here.
We got some humans in here.
Good morning, everybody.
I was just starting to tell them not giving away any secrets or surprises, but I told them I got some really fun stuff to show them today.
Oh, yesterday was a fantastic day at my place.
Yeah, I know.
It was. I got one of these days. I got to figure out how to do this. I got too much stuff on my desk here.
That pile of chips don't help much.
No, it's I've got rocks and tools and
man's got to have his stuff.
Yeah,
my desk looks just like it, but my computers are mounted up so they're out of the way.
I need to change my. I kind of like my background, so
I do. I like the sign.
I don't need to change anything.
Hang on just a minute. I'll be right back. I'm still here. I just got to fix something. I actually like, you got that farmhouse thing there
Good
behind.
morning, everybody. My filly is absolutely wonderful, Tina. We had a great day yesterday.
Yeah, I've got a video and some pictures to show everybody.
But we had she's just getting to be just a nice little horse. So
Hang on just a minute. I hear my wife.
uh-oh.
Hang on just a minute. Come on in. I turned the camera off. If you can. I didn't mean to come all the way down. I probably didn't hear you.
Yeah, that's cool, Doug. There's
Say hi to anybody. Or you
that's the real Cleveland.
Okay.
Get up there.
All right. Thank you. Well, she brought me a biscuit.
Steak biscuit?
No.
You better not eat one of them.
No, this is the homemade sausage on a biscuit.
Hold on, I'm gonna try
I had
to
to cut grass, Diana. The daughter was in Tennessee.
feed a dog real quick to
Cleveland, Tennessee. You need to go do that?
Yeah, it'll just take me a second. Hang on.
Okay. I know where Cleveland is, Doug. That's maybe 80 miles from here. Maybe not quite that far. Probably not that far. Maybe 60. I used to work with a fellow that lived in Cleveland, and Cleveland's down near Chickamauga Reservoir we worked on, and not too far from Hiwassee. It's almost due south here. It might be a little southwest. Do you know which camp she's at, Doug? I may not know it, but I hear names bantied about sometimes. Sucks to be you, Doug, but nice for her. Bet she had a great time. Okay, Diane, I'm going to guess it sucks to be him because he hurt his knee cutting grass. Oh, wait a minute, Doug. Are you saying that normally your daughter mows the yard, so you had to do it this time? Maybe I misread that. Yep. That's a good Canadian. Yep. Except you didn't say A, but you said you don't say A. We should write a book. Diana gives a A. Or did you put down just enough food from the fight over? I hear Boudreaux, I think.
No, it's the grand dogs.
Oh.
I got a new puppy today too. Supposed to.
Oh, really?
Another little border collie, a female.
Who's got that?
Me.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
I just thought you meant that somebody was going to bring
No,
it.
we found a litter of border collie puppies and got a little liver colored female that we're supposed to pick up at some point.
Oh, cool.
Because what we need's another dog.
You do.
We almost had one yesterday.
Yeah. Well, you had that healer mix.
We had that healer mix right here at the house.
I tried to explain that to Brenda, but I might let you work on that when I pull up the pictures. Can't wait to see pictures. Yep. Is she smooth coated or rough coated?
It's a rough coat. It's a regular one.
Black and white?
No,
Oh, you
liver and white. Liver and
you
white.
said liver colored. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she'll be. I'm sure that
She'll have a wonderful life.
Hank will show her what to do. How the
She'll
job.
be out there working chickens before you know it.
Yeah.
Hank saved the chickens from the healer mix. So
Yeah, I know. Tina says her husband. I'll put it up here. Had a border collie growing up.
I have a hard time thinking that there's a better dog breed in the world. I know other people don't maybe
I think
agree entirely, but they're crazy because they're so intelligent that.
Well, they're listed. I didn't realize this because I always sort of suspected there would be another dog who showing what.
John's wishing that the bear girl would come around because he's chasing he's hunting golf eggs.
John, sounds like you should have planned better.
It's only 10 o'clock even where you're at, buddy.
Yeah, but it's noon somewhere.
Well, yeah, about in the middle of the Atlantic.
Well, that might be Iceland or. Well, John, you be careful out there chasing that ball around, would you please?
You enjoy yourself, buddy. Fishing's more fun now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there.
We can't eat them golf eggs. They're hard. They're hard boiled when they come out.
I don't even know how they hatch. That's the thing about them. I don't know why they're not already extinct. Yeah, that's very true, Tina. They do need to be worked, and that's part of the deal with them. But what I was getting ready to say and didn't finish it because John showed up. They're listening. What did he do now?
Who made that stupid rule?
That's a good question, Diana. I'm not sure.
I don't think it used to be a rule, but
John said it's bad today. It's like putting 5 pounds of poop. I think he meant poop in a 2-pound bag there, waiting 20 minutes on each tee. Wow, that's
wow.
Just think you could be casting.
Think how many fish you could catch.
Diana, the first time I ever heard this noon somewhere story was a friend of mine I worked with in Nashville. He'd been in the Navy and he was on board the USS Forstall, and he was based in the Caribbean. And in fact, it was a carrier, and it's the carrier that the F-14 pilots that shot down Gaddafi's airplanes in the 80s, I guess, were based out of. I can't remember what they were called. Spades or something. I remember they had a black.
But they were cool. They were just cool.
They were cool on board, especially on board. But he had a. I wish he had a Pope. I hate to say this, but I think my dad had one of those. He thought it might be handy. I'm not sure he couldn't ever cast it worth a diddly. Anyway, his mom would fuss at him if he popped a beer before noon, and he'd say, "Mom, it's noon somewhere, and I've been there." And he was right. He had. I mean, so I guess that kind of helps.
That's just a squirrel.
What?
Tina probably could count that as 10 squirrels.
Yeah, it's at least a couple of squirrels. Wait more. Yeah, that's I remember doing that. I used to chase that ball around just a little bit. I figured out pretty quick that wasn't my forte. Plus, they kept fussing because the shotgun would tear up the sod so bad.
I tell people that I've only been on a golf course a few times, and most of it was work catching antelope or geese.
Oh, yeah, geese.
And then when I was in grad school, we hunted cottontails on the golf course on the day it was closed, Thursdays. The owner was a friend of my friend, and he would let us come over and take our bows and hunt cottontails. And it was good cottontail habitat.
I bet.
He didn't like all them rabbits running around.
We had calls about geese. Pretty regular.
But where John was stationed there in F.E. Warren, I caught hundreds of antelope off their golf course on base.
He found the car.
Check in a bit. Nah, go.
Hope you catch her, John. Good luck.
Oh, it's going to be one of those days.
Yeah, well, it might be. John,
There's enough. One at a time.
Sorry, guys. I got to eat a bite. I was running behind on the food thing. I saw shouldn't talk with my mouth full. I saw Ken Rollins whip up a breakfast sandwich. Kent Rollins whip up.
That guy kills me.
He made some kind of a what you know what do they call them? Well, crap, now I can't remember. People cut out them hole in bread and put an egg in it and cook it kind of together. And then you can just eat it like that. I can't remember what that's called. Brenda, if you're in there, tell me what that is. Anyway, Kent made his different. And he made a patty, took a patty of sausage and made it about that big so it fit a slice of bread. And then he did the egg and the sandwich part and combined all that and cheese to make this big old nasty looking breakfast sandwich that still had just a little bit of runny yolk in it. And
I bet it was just wonderful.
It looked good.
Just a wonderful sandwich.
Oh yeah. Let me see what time it is. Well,
It's after 8 because I was late.
Well, yeah, it's after that, but not here. It's after 10.
Heck, I'm like rhyming like Dr. Seuss this morning.
Oh, it looked delicious, Tina. I mean, it looked like a train wreck, but it looked delicious.
All right, girl. What are you doing? Silly. Go on. You feeling needy this morning? Zoe, go lay down. Go do something. Go find something. Hi on, Sounder.
Do what?
I said, hi on, Sounder. Trying to get my dog to go find something constructive to do.
Which dog was that?
Oh, Zoe, my wife's half Chessie, half
healer. Tina, you might be right about that. I would make another comment on Messi, but I don't know if everybody's got their slips up to date. So I bought a new pole chainsaw.
You did?
No, Doug's saying he did. He bought a new pole chainsaw. Hope I don't get the nickname stuck.
That's where it comes from, Doug, every time. Nearly every time. Axes can cause it too.
Or a lefty.
Or lefty.
You be careful with that thing, Doug. I tell you what, when we used the chainsaw at work, We had so much safety equipment on,
You probably had to be like in a suit of armor.
just about. You had to have on chainsaw chaps or pants and some kind of either
And
a
a hard hat.
hard hat with earmuffs and a face shield on it. And let's see, you had to have either had chainsaw boots or a cover over the top of your boot, so you drop the saw down on the. You've probably seen them, I'm sure.
Oh, I've seen all that stuff. I've also seen guys in short, cut off shorts and Chucky Taylors with no shirt on, like halfway up a tree using one.
I have to, but I'm not.
All that kind of heavy duty safety equipment. Because nothing beats a Chucky Taylor for a safety shoe.
That's right. Nothing else. You can usually run away from danger faster.
And you remember old Mike Rowe, not the Micro, but a Micro. Maybe he is the Micro. Kiwi.
Oh yeah.
talking about Maori safety shoes. when he first came to the States from New Zealand, and he was talking about Maori safety shoes, and they were sandals.
Oh God, I'd forgotten all about that.
Well, he lives in Arkansas now, you know.
No, I didn't. Well,
He's got a great big old family and lives up there in the Ozarks. Still building firearms, as far as I know. But
wow.
Yeah, he got back in the state. You know, he was over here working for Curly, and they sent him.
Yeah, I knew that.
They sent him packing like, well, your visa's run out. You got to go home. And it's like, well, he was a powerful, viable part of society, but he got shipped back to New Zealand, but he got back over.
Well, that's why he got married.
Married a gal in Arkansas, and they got a bunch of youngins, and he's still building, I think.
I bet before they use it, Mark, they watch this. Oh, that's a redneck thing, Tina.
Yeah. There's a statement before that, like, here, hold my beer, and then watch this.
Which might mean they're holding that beer before 12 o'clock.
Exactly. And so we've come full circle here.
Yes, we have. And here Mike is. No donuts. He's got muffins this morning. Mike. That's okay, Mike. I have none. I'm sworn off again. I'm going to try to lose some damn weight. Anyway, sorry about that.
Well, that means when you get one of them Hardy steak biscuits, you just got to ship it to me.
Okay.
Avoid eating it. Just ship it to me.
I got it. I'll have
Man, that sounds good.
I've got a box right over. Hang on a minute. I'm going to grab one to show you if I can reach it. I'll get my grabber stick. Maybe I can extend my arm.
My bride came out of the room, and one of our little grand dogs was there whining and waiting for her, and I thought she opened the door. I thought that dog was going to pop in there and pounce on her.
Look here what I got. I've been saving this, and I don't know whether to try it now or wait till winter sets in again, That way it'd be, if I froze it, time it got to you, it'd be froze again. But look, check. Oh, you can't see it. See, check out this box. This is
I like that. I like the looks of that box.
it's got enough room in there to it's made to fit a steak
For
biscuit.
one sausage biscuit.
I think I can get 2 steak biscuits in there crunched together, and then pack
And some ice.
and some dry ice, and then put dry ice around this, along
And
with that.
it might survive it.
I think there's a good chance. So this is what I'm trying next. I've got 2 of these, so I'll either send this one to try it and then keep the other one, or I'll send them both. Yeah, this is made. Oh, this is my Forged in Fire It Will Kill mug came in this. Says right here. And just for the record, this box says right big letters right here on top, made in China. So what would we do if we weren't getting our styrofoam from China? No wonder people quit talking about it over here causing ozone problems. We shipped it all over to China. Well, there's Miss Brenda. Good morning.
I'm a little late to the party today.
No, that's okay.
Well, she might have got like a whole nother batch of like appliances delivered.
She hadn't even got to use the new washer and dryer because she's been laid up since Monday.
That's right. She had a tumble, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Well, that means you could have used it.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did a load yesterday and the day before, and I was going to do one last night. And I didn't get to it in time. I didn't want to leave it in the dry washer overnight.
Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here.
Well, Carol, I hope you got to see Teddy. He stood up for a minute, but he's back down.
Good boy. Chicken savior.
Brenda, I don't think you or I or both of those will ever live down the unicorn. That's okay.
I hope you're. Well, that was one of the darndest things I've ever seen.
I just wanted you to know that we ride ponies here too.
I saw him. It was quite the event.
Brenda says her name is real stiff this morning. I think she means her knee. It still has a bit of a pop knot on the upper outside right hand side of her knee. It's her right knee. Just oblique from her knee a couple inches. It's just a big old puffy spot. It was a lot worse. Now it's not near as bad. It's okay. She loves her unicorn. What Tina say? Morgan is risen. Morgan says, "Hi, Teddy," or she will. Oh, later, because she ran for the door. Never mind. Maybe you'll catch her later, okay? His eyes are closed. I wish I could go to sleep and wake up as quick as he can. Because that's the funny thing about cats. A lot of times, if they're startled or something, they're instantly ready to go. Now, sometimes they got to stretch and carry on like a cat, but they can also be instantly aware. Brenda has, just for the history of this, her knee problems. She had really bad knee problems 10 years ago. And that was one of the reasons she had to retire. She just couldn't walk anymore. But her doctor decided that it was time for a change. So she got 2 brand new titanium knees. I don't think we even realized it had been 10 years until we were at the doctor's the other day, having the doctor take a look at it. They x-rayed it. We had to go get all that, referral stuff. But she got an x-ray and there's nothing broken. Of course, they can't see soft tissue, but they're thinking that if it's not really ripped or torn or pulled, maybe it won't, maybe it'll, get healed up. She starts therapy on Tuesday. And, I don't know if, there was a time when knee joints or replacement joints had about a 10-year lifespan. But I don't think she's worn hers out yet. She's not been running marathons or hiking the Appalachian Trail since she got hers put in. So I think they're going to be good for a little longer. But I was afraid she might have knocked one out of joint or something. Kind of funny. You can tap on her knee and it's sort of hard right there. I mean, harder than normal. It's a cool way they did that, though. I should do a show on that someday because, man, and the doctor that did it is famous for his knee work. And they did her first one, and the whole thing took a couple of hours, really quick compared to what I thought it would take. And he described how they did it. Well, a couple of hours, and then he was out. They were he had an assistant, I guess, mopping up. And so then we went to he did one, and then we came back a few months later and he did the second one. And so technically it was 2 different years, but it really wasn't that long. And the second one only took like 45 minutes. And I said, what the hell? I mean, how did you last time I thought you were fast, and this time you're done and you're already out here? He said, yeah. He said, we've been working on a new process. And he said, we don't have to displace many tendons and muscles and stuff as we used to. So we can get in there and do it a lot quicker, and it's a lot less invasive. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. But they cut a big dovetail in the tops of her bones and the ends of her bones. And they do. And that's how that new joint.
And it just slips right in there like butter.
Like butter. And then, there you go. Bob's your uncle, and you're ready to go again.
You have been watching a lot of British TV. Bob's your uncle.
I can't remember now what we did watch. They said that a lot, but that's not
on all them British shows. Bob's your uncle.
Well, yeah, but
and Viola.
And Viola. Oh,
as the French would say, and Viola.
Yeah, and Viola. I hope there's not a lot of damage. Brenda said to Tina, and Tina also said, I think they said 10 years because that's the length of time people had them so far. Yeah, it could be. I've known people, though, that have had to go back and get them changed and new ones put in, and the new ones are just better and better. Carpentry is wonderful. Yes, it is. It's a lovely thing. I'd love to, honestly, that's one surgery I'd like to see them do because that's what I couldn't figure out how they could do it so quick. I made an assumption based on facts not yet in evidence, as Perry Mason would say. And I thought they'd have to cut both ends of the bone off and then fit, a sleeve.
And then stick a big old ginormous pin up in there.
Yeah, something like that. And then, attach the knee joint, but that's not how they do it at all. So pretty cool.
Oh God, they got the whole clan in here this morning. Are you trying to tell me not to get another dog?
That could be. They've heard rumors.
And you all stink. You all have been out in the bad water somewhere.
Well, let's start the show. I'm gonna because this is making me think of slides I have, and I need to put them up here. All right, come on.
Well, it ain't gonna work today.
Oh, surely it's got to work today.
Oh, it ain't going to.
I've been doing real good lately. It's been, I
You
thought,
have been.
yeah, I mean, it's been working, and I think it's ready now. And I've got some splaining to do,
Some splaining.
just a wee bit. Have you, by any chance, found or watched any Mrs. Brown yet? And Brenda and I've been going to bed on Mrs. Brown because we figured
No, I haven't seen it.
that's it's funny. So
The
it's
Shark Fest is on, so I gotta watch Shark.
oh well, okay. Well,
I gotta watch Shark Attack Files and stuff like that.
you can watch this anytime, day or night, if you get it, because it's just out there. What did she say? I think that's what it is, Mark. They're protesting the new dog. I do too.
Yeah,
And Tina said, "Don't jinx." It's too late, Tina. I already did.
they're feeling a disturbance in the force.
Yes, they are.
And I mean, we already got extra dogs here, and we're gonna get 2 more today probably, and grand dogs,
And then maybe a new dog.
and then a new puppy. Because once you've crossed a certain threshold, it just doesn't matter anymore.
No, adding one more don't do anything.
Just doesn't even.
Oh yeah,
I
Brenda.
often think that's why crazy cat people get to be crazy cat people, because after a while it just doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, I agree.
mean, the people that like a former relative of mine that had like 411 or something of them,
And if we talk about her toe surgery, I've got some really good pictures of that. I took them while they were working on her, and she said, "Why did you take a picture of that?" Well, because I could, and I could show them to people. Mike wants to know if you've seen the last episode of Yellowstone. He may not have seen the
I haven't seen the first episode of Yellowstone, let alone the last one. So
Yeah, me either. Haven't. Mike, you do know that's not a documentary series, right?
I watched I started to watch the first episode and I couldn't get through it. And I just no, that's not for me. So
I really want to watch the old ones, the 1863 or whatever.
now I have seen that whole series and that's great.
That's good. That's got
It's got Sam Elliott in it. It's hard to beat that.
right. I wondered if it was just like the other one or if it was better. Because I haven't
Well, I enjoyed that one thoroughly. And I've watched one of the 1923 or whatever version, whatever the year
got
was.
Harrison Ford in it, doesn't it?
No,
He's in one of them.
yeah, that one.
So there you go, Mike. That's the rundown.
But you were talking injuries earlier. I had an interesting deal happen day before yesterday. I was out weed eating and I never had this happen before. In all the hundreds of hours I've used a weed eater, the line broke on my weed eater.
Yeah.
And it hit me in the left rib cage. That line did. And it came out of there so fast. I mean, it was I thought I was shot. It cut a hole in my shirt and a hole in my hide. And I thought somebody shot me. I was like, what? I went down like, holy crap, that hurts. And my wife came running over and like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know.
What kind of line are you using?
It's just weed eater line, you buy at the hardware store.
Did it bounce off of something?
It's like a plastic. It's probably wire wrapped in plastic.
Mm.
And it it just come out of there wrong and it hit me. So warning to all, like watch your weed eater line when it breaks off. You know how it trims itself. You know how it's self-trimming when you
Yeah.
kind of bounce it on the ground and it trims it off a little bit.
Mike said, I think Mike's trying to say he lives his life by that show. He loves it. And then he said, I thought you had to watch Yellowstone to be a cowboy. I'll let you comment on that.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Chicken shit.
I have refused on the grounds that it might incriminate me. I love how their calves come out 100 pounds and already branded, though. Ear tagged and branded.
Well, before I go on to the show, I remembered something and I forgot to put pictures in. Tell them
You're still eating.
I am. I'm trying to eat a bite at a time and not talk, but tell them about your weather incident the other day.
The wind?
Yeah.
A little F1, F2.
I read something yesterday that said Yellowstone had something very similar.
It was a little interesting to look outside, and I couldn't see. Heck, I couldn't see 100 yards probably, and it was like a whiteout, like in the snow, like a blizzard. And it did some tree damage here at the old Lazy Z Ranch. So tore some tin off the barns, and luckily it didn't hurt the house that I can tell anyway. And we just had a new roof, but it was a little interesting. Got a little western there for a few minutes.
Yes, it did.
Broke some limbs about 12 to 14 inches in diameter and threw them hundreds of yards. And I was glad I wasn't outside. I was getting ready to go to the basement, and I had an in-law show up right in the middle of it. I'm like, what in the hell are you doing here? Pardon my French. What are you? But that's what I said. Why are you here?
Well, we do go for full honesty on this show, so sometimes you just got.
Why did you walk in when this is going on? But
Brenda says you'll have to start wearing full tactical gear to weed eat your yard.
I'll tell you, it was. I definitely needed like some sappy plates or something.
Mike says his next truck is going to have Yellowstone Ranch stickers on the door, just like the TV show, and a big gun rack in the window. Wait a minute, do Canadians not have gun racks in their truck windows?
Already? They don't come with them?
They're an added accessory down here, coming from the factory.
Well, they used to be. When we went to high school, they dang sure were in every pickup truck in the parking lot.
In high school, every pickup truck in the lot had a gun rack in the window.
And firearms in the rack.
Yeah.
And none of us shot each other.
No.
But we're not going to start that.
Mike, I tell you what, buddy, there's one of the truck manufacturers, I don't remember if it's Ford or Chevrolet, they make a Yellowstone edition. Just go for that one, buddy. Diana says, no, it won't. And the law has been laid down. God has spoken. Diana's thinking stupid truck again. Okay. Now, when I started doing this slide yesterday, I wasn't sure Mark was going to be here. So I put up some stuff about squirrel hunting. and I found a couple of really cool.
We've done that, haven't we?
Yeah, but I was just gonna put it up as the joke. Let's just hunt squirrels today, you know. And
Oh, I got you.
But in doing that, I found some kind of neat pictures, and this is one that came out. I think it's Harper's Weekly in the 1800s. Oh well, it's
Got a little feist dog down there hunting a squirrel.
well. There's three dogs actually in there. I see at least 3 squirrels up in the tree.
Or
Oh,
maybe
there's
there's saddles or something. I can't tell.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, my thought was, wow, that's kind of cool. They could show people actually hunting out in the woods and nobody got epileptic about it, or apoplectic, or whatever they call it.
Epileptic works.
So anyway, the usual warnings and promises of no rewards here. I wanted to talk a little bit before we got into the main subject. I wanted to talk just a little bit about some things I had thrown together. And one of them was I had mentioned in my write-up somewhere that I think it's here. Somewhere
I think you're back to the first slide.
I was trying to see if I wrote it there, but I was talking about having a 4th of July hangover, just resting up after the holidays. And I thought, well, what's more American on the 4th of July than the annual hot dog eating contest? So I thought I'd put this up there, and this is a live picture right here on the.
62 in 10 minutes.
He ate 62 hot dogs this year, and that's 12 less than his record. His record is 74. He could have eaten more.
Joey Chestnut.
And he is like the king of the hot dog eating guy. So I put in there, long live the king. And this is held every 4th of July at the original Nathan's, world famous Frankfurters. And I don't know if anybody else is eating them, but I like their hot dogs. They're are you pulling my leg?
I never even heard of them. Huh? Where's that at?
Which one?
Well, the original.
It's on the corner of the street that dumps onto Coney Island, the beach area there in New York, where Coney Island is, and all the boardwalk.
Yeah.
And that's on the corner, and it's been there for over 100 years, I think, and they've been doing this quite a long time.
And they've been making hot dogs there.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they were Jewish. I think they're kosher hot dogs, so that made a big difference when they opened. And look here, John. John's watching. They've even got a clam bar in there. I didn't know there was such a thing as a clam bar. John's a big clammer. I thought it was kind of funny, though. They got that big sign. I didn't post it, but I just realized it's posted right there on the side of the building. It tells how much they ate and when and all that. But my friend Phil, my friend Phil supplied this picture, and you'll never guess where he was at when he took the picture.
Well, he was right there at that corner.
Well, no, he was actually downtown Maryville at a bar, one of his favorite eateries / bars. And he took that for me and sent it to me because I'd forgotten all.
He didn't take the photo of the Nathans.
No, I pulled that off their website.
Got it.
Oh, for over 100 years, it does say right there on top. So anyway, it's kind of neat to have sponsors like, Heinz Ketchup, or not Heinz Ketchup, but French's Mustard and Nathan's Hot Dogs. And I don't know about buns, but they got to eat a hot dog and a bun. They got to keep them down at least as long as they're standing there. And they dip these things in water, which sounds like the grossest thing in the world. To me, I don't know. Does anybody else dip their hot dogs in?
I can't eat 2 hot dogs in 10 minutes, let alone 64 of them.
All right, we got to back up just a minute. Mike has asked a question. Are you pulling my leg about the pickup trucks in the school parking lot? No. Or are you talking about the Yellowstone truck? Oh, he says, is it a 3/4 ton dually diesel by any chance? Oh, I about bet it is, or I bet you can get that first. I'm serious. Look, I've seen it advertised. I don't know if it's available now, but last year I know it was. I can't remember.
It's got to be a Ford.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but I'm not positive. But yes, they do, and you'll have to look them up. What's Doug say? Doug says, Mike, I will get them for my Chevy Trax if you get them. If you've got a Chevy Trax, that goes back a little ways, doesn't it, Doug? So anyway, let's go. I'm going to move on here with along this topic before I get to the main topic. So next picture is some more. Like I said, I was looking at squirrel hunting stuff because that's what we might have been talking about and chasing. So I just think these are interesting pictures. I didn't really post the ones that showed them holding, 1,500 squirrels and that kind of stuff. Although there's 3 or 4 laying here on the ground, and they got dogs with them, big dogs, not just little feist dogs. They're all carrying.
Look at that long hunter, like sniping one out with his flintlock.
I can't remember who drew that one. I noticed these guys in the big picture. They're all carrying nice
shotguns.
Yeah, exposed hammer double barrels. I'd like to have one of them.
They got a spaniel there and a pointer.
Yep.
They're for real hunting squirrels.
And I like this one because it's got this kid and his grandpa probably. I can't remember what I read about this picture. Anyway, that's another one. And then, like I said, Marlin, this is a rabbit, but I found one that showed squirrels, but it just wasn't a very good picture, so I didn't put it in here. But anyway.
A pump action 22 repeating rifle.
Yes, sir. Handles all 22 long shorts and 22 long rifle cartridges without adjustment. 15 shots at one loading. I'm surprised they don't say load it once and shoot all week. Oh, with a full magazine on the Model 20, you get 25 shots. I wonder if that's with shorts. Solid steel top protects your face and eyes against injury from defective cartridges. That'd be a damn strong cartridge to blow top out of a rifle gun with a 22. And they got a side ejection. Marlin was always kind of famous for side ejection because Winchester comes out the top, and they always stuck with that. I guess Henry's. I don't know if Henry's do or not, but Marlin had one of their inventions was, or one of their, they were considered kind of cutting edge on some of that stuff. And I just happened to own one with a square bolt like that. Not a 22, but. And one last one there, Squirrel Week, Mark. I put that on there for you because we were talking about Shark Week. And I just love this picture over here on the left. These 2 old boys, they're just, look at those faces. That face would crack and shatter if they were to smile. Look at that. They look like 2 pure.
And that might be the only photograph ever taken of those 2 gents.
Oh, yeah, probably. And actually probably was.
I got a photo of a relative from like 1860, and he's standing there in his boots, and he's got a pistol in his hand that he's got laid across his chest. And I know that's the only photograph that was ever taken of him. And he looks like, you're stealing my soul, or something. There's something. He is not happy looking.
Well, they had to stand like that for 5 minutes,
a week.
I just realized that. I thought that was one of those guys has a side by side, but this one on here looks like
that's a muzzle loader.
Muzzle loader there, yeah. Maybe
he's got a pouch and a horn right there on his.
Yes, he does. These remind me of Civil War pictures, where they had soldiers would get together at one of those Matthew Brady rolling wagon things, and they'd get their picture taken with the boys or something. But anyway,
that's probably from that era.
Yeah, it looks like it. It didn't have a date on it, I don't think. Anyway, that's it for I didn't explore that. I just wanted to get one squirrel hunting picture because that's kind of what I was going to do this morning. And I came up with all these neat ones, and I thought, man, I got to put those in there. So now we're going to move on to some more exciting things that happened at the Lazy Z this week. After the storm, we had a visitor, a chicken badger.
If somebody dropped their blue heeler mix out.
All right, tell the folks what that means.
Well, I don't know what that means. I've just seen what do you call them deals?
The meme.
Meme. I've seen a meme that's got a badger sitting in the back seat of a pickup truck or something, and it says, "We just picked up this blue heeler mix in town, and is anybody looking for it or whatever?" And so I stole that yesterday and said that this was a heeler mix that had been dropped.
Well, that's on your Facebook.
It was attacking my chickens.
That was on your
And
Facebook.
my border collie protected the chickens, and it went from him to Boudreaux, who is kind of a badger dog.
Yeah.
And I had to keep him from getting in a big old scrap with this devil.
I bet.
And then it went to my mare,
And I
who
have
was
that.
protecting her foal.
I have that on. I think I have that
And I
video.
thought, well, we're just this poor little, and it's not, he's probably a yearling or 2-year-old badger. He's just not a very big badger. And,
But
he was trying to dig into the chicken house. My wife had seen a hole out there, and she was blaming it on the dog.
Oh, Boudreaux was doing it, Hank.
No, Hank, because he sits out there all the time. Turns out it was this guy.
You'll have to keep an eye on that.
Well, yeah. I mean, if he keeps coming, it'll be a fatal mistake for Mr. Badger if he keeps trying to get in the chicken house.
Well, Brenda asked me, "Did you do that yesterday?" And I said, "I don't think you did this time." But I said,
No, I kept the horse from killing him.
Yeah, well,
She was going to stomp his head in. I mean, I don't mean to be too graphic, but it's not Disneyland out there.
No, no, it's not. So there it is up against the fence. I don't know. Is this where Boudreaux had it cornered against the fence, or did you?
This is where Mark had it cornered up against the fence.
That's not.
This is when he decided he might run up my pants leg.
Oh, gotcha. Now I've got the video here of Mark's horse, Bobby Socks, and you can see her socks on her back feet. Now this is the mare that just had the filly, and she's very protective, I think, of this young horse.
She's a good mommy.
So watch what happens there. I'm going to know if I got volume on this. Let me turn a little bit up.
Mike! Bobby!
You think
I'm not!
she's serious?
Bobby,
Well, she was going to mash him flat.
back over there. Now he's on the side with the pole.
But he's still going. He's heading towards the trailer out there or something.
Yeah, he went in and underneath
She
one of
was.
my outbuild. He went under an outbuilding, and he's fine.
He probably lives out there.
Yeah. There's often creatures of some form living under those little outbuildings I've got, and I'm sure he's got a den in there somewhere. But
I think
this is the first time I've had one in the. I mean, I see them all the time, but this is the first time I've had one literally up in the yard, basically.
Yeah.
At the barn, and I just thought it was funny. She was trying to mash him, and I was hollering at her to leave him alone, and she kept chasing him, and he squirted underneath that chain link fence and went right over to the foal.
It kept going.
Mike!
No, wait, I didn't mean to do that.
Bobby!
Yeah, I think she would have stomped its head in if it'd come away from that fence.
The only reason he backed up, I was kind of pushing them both, and he was backing up, and he was going to go under the fence just to get away from her, But
Yeah.
if she'd have caught him out in the pasture, he'd have been a dead badger. I wouldn't have been able to do anything.
I think so too. She was showing all kinds of instincts there. John's back. He said, I could use that badger here to get these golfers to move their butts faster. And, Ron, did you catch the beer girl? That's what we're all waiting to find out. That badger would probably move them right along. And that, which brings up another story I'm getting to here in a minute. I wanted to show this picture though. I really like this picture on the left. I think that's just such a, I mean, somebody might say that, it'd be better if their faces were in the frame or something like that. But I recognize this immediately. These two mares and Marks are sisters or half sisters. And anyway, they came out of the same mare, mama.
Same stud.
And same stud too?
No, different
mares.
mama.
Okay.
Same stud. Their daddy's the same.
And it just, to me, this looks like a perfect example of them protecting this filly, because they both keep an eye on her, Mark says, and keep her kind of corralled when she's out there. And I don't think Honeycomb never was aggressive toward her at all, was she?
Nope. She's been perfect. The perfect aunt. She actually hangs out with her aunt more with that buckskin horse, which is kind of a silly picture. I was sitting on the ground when that horse was walking up to me.
Oh, really?
And I was just sitting down flat on my backside, and she just come walking into me, and that I decided to take some photos, and then they all showed up. But she hangs out with Honeycomb at least as much as she does her mother. So,
and Honeycomb that is Honeycomb on the
that's
right.
Honeycomb right there. Yeah,
that's the mare Mark rides the most.
That's my war horse right there. That's my pal.
Working horse and whatever else. Okay.
But that little filly's going to be one too. She's going to be a dandy. She's just so good conformation. She's just, I got real lucky.
She's a good looking little horse, that's for sure.
And she's got a good disposition.
So here's what but Mark, because of the Badger episode, I thought we'd talk a little bit about Mustelids today. I know a couple of these we've mentioned in the past, just sort of about animals, but this is just about these critters. And basically, we're talking about the American Badger, the American Marten, American Mink, Black-footed Ferret, which is near and dear to our hearts, Ermine. This is a list I pulled offline, and I have a question about this list, Mark. Fisher, least weasel, long-tailed weasel, river otter, sea otter, wolverine, and skunks. And when I pulled this list up, skunks were not listed.
So they've taken them out. They're their own creature now.
So they're not considered a mustelid?
All the I don't even know how you say it. The hognose skunk and the Conopodus or Conopatus or Conopodus or whatever, however that genus of skunks that was different from striped skunks, which were Mephitis. They've put them in their own family called Mephididae now, I think, is what the genus is. But yeah, the mammalogists had to be messing.
There's always somebody's got to change.
You just catch you a mosquito or something. I've been swatting at them. Golly, we're eat up.
Mosquito or gnat just went by, and I saw him in front of my face. That's a reaction.
I saw you, did you?
John said,
snake.
John said, I miss riding. Been over 40 years since dating that young lady from Wheatland. Mark, John probably just missed a chance of being your neighbor out there.
That's too bad, buddy. That's good country.
So this also led to another funny thing, because we were talking about badgers up front. And I think the next picture, this is the American badger on the left. This is the kind of silly looking European badger. And I never realized there was that much difference in how they looked or how they acted. And I found this because Mark, the European badger looks like a nice guy who would invite you into his cozy and clean burrow to have a cup of tea. The American badger has got a shank and is waiting for you in a dark alley so he can rob you and spend the money on methamphetamines. There's a big difference in the ferocity and the mannerisms of the American badger versus this European guy that looks just has a silly look on his face.
That badger, yes, I saw that exact look on that badger yesterday. And and I remember having a great big one I watched down in a dry wash bottom, was walking down this dry creek, wash. And he went in a hole, and I'm like, oh, maybe I can get a photograph. I have my good camera with me. And I just put my camera down. He went in a hole right at the base of the wash, and I just put my camera down and took one shot. I couldn't really even see him, but I could hear he was like growling at me. I put my camera down, took one photograph, and all I got was like his nose and that curled lip and those teeth.
I think you've heard it. John, I'm going to answer your question just in a moment. Let me tell a story. That reminds me of a story. You might have heard this, but Philip's got a famous story in his family. When Phil was, I don't know how old he was, 10 to 12 or something. They took a trip. His family was living in, I believe, in Ohio at that time. And
which has badgers, by the way. Northern Ohio has badgers.
I did not know that.
But just a few. No, I mean, there aren't many of them left. But, yeah, that's native range.
So, anyway, they went to the Smoky Mountains for their vacation. And they were somewhere and they got stuck in a bear jam. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. But the bear jams are pretty famous in the Smokies. And I guess when they got to the bear in question, Phil's dad decided he needed to get a picture, and he did the stupid thing that people do, and he offered him a potato chip. And before it was over with, he dropped the bag of chips and retreated to the car very quickly, and all he got was a picture of that charging bear with his nose and his mouth as he came towards the camera. And fortunately, nobody was hurt, probably the bear, but well,
that's like my father when he got fresh home from Vietnam, and we went on a whirlwind adventure out west, and we were at Teddy Roosevelt National Monument. And there was a herd of bison there.
Oh no!
But they were behind a fence, and
I haven't seen a.
Of course, we pop out. I popped out. Dad popped out. We go to run down to the fence to look at the buffalo, and there was a cow that had just calved. She had a little red calf laying on the ground, and here she come, 900 miles an hour. And we ran back to the car, and she turned around when she got to the fence, and Dad figured out she turned at the fence every time. Because he kept aggravating her.
Yeah.
And he was going to get a good picture of a charging buffalo, and he did. It's a great photo, but
I've seen that photo.
He's just,
messing with.
He was fresh home from Vietnam, so
wasn't afraid of nothing. He
didn't care about nothing at that point. So
I've got a couple of these pictures, mostly.
She's withdrawn all squirrel counts. We've wandered around quite a bit.
Oh, Tina, you give up so easy. John, that's the question, John, because I thought they were. They used to be in the same family as the wolverine.
They still are. They're
They-
not in the same family as skunks.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what he was talking about. I think he was talking about that. Maybe he was talking about badgers. And yes, they are still in the same family. I think I have another.
There's
This was basically the same
but
talk.
it must have been foul.
But look at no, because I'd already said it. I just marked it out. I was messing around, but I really like this the face on this one. Look at those teeth. If you don't think that thing wouldn't bite you, ooh-wee. Well, I think this had an email address. I didn't want to.
And they have big old heavy jaws and big jaw muscles. I mean,
They are kind of like a Wolverine.
They're a powerful animal. They'll hurt you.
Well, they can dig a hole. I'm almost surprised he didn't get out of the chicken house. They can dig pretty quick, can't they?
Well, he did dig under the chicken house. I had to fill the hole in.
Oh, okay.
But when I was still being a wildlife guy, I had a neighbor of mine flag me down one day. And he said he had opened the front door of his house. He lived in a little trailer house, and he opened the front door, and an animal ran in. He thought it was a coon.
Oh, no.
And it ran in and went underneath his bed. And it was hiding in there, and he flagged me. He saw me going to work, and he flagged me down, and I went in there, and I had a pegging string, which is a little string you tie up calf feet with after you rope them. And I took that pegging string in there, and I said, hey, I could see an animal under his bed, and I said, run it out with a broom. And when it comes out, I was up sitting on his bed. And when it stuck its head out, I was just going to rope it and drag it outside. And I did that, but it was a badger. It wasn't a coon.
How'd that go for you?
And I don't care how hard you push on a rope, you can't keep the badger off your pants leg. You got to run pretty fast. And I drug him outside real quick and let go of the pegging string. And he was like, don't you want your rope? And I'm like, heck no, dude.
You go get it.
He can have it.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm surprised he didn't eat you up.
They're just wonderful animals, though.
Hey, Dave, welcome in.
I
Sorry
like
for playing. That's pretty close, Tina.
them.
And good morning.
Grumpy shark of the land.
Oh, John says, I'm still here, about 10 minutes to wait. This is ridiculous. My wife is going to have to pick me up. They're driving me to drink. And that badger here now. We need that badger. I think he wants that badger bad. Okay, let's move on past badgers. I don't think I got
Throw it in their britches.
I got several pictures. I didn't put a lot of text on things. I figured we'd just talk about them. And I didn't get, there's probably things I didn't get, but I thought this was I don't know if this is a mock-up or if this is real, but that's a black-footed ferret chasing its primary, if not only, game animal, and that's a prairie dog. And you can see what its original range was. It's quite large. I'm sure it was much less than that when we moved out there, but those little red dots are the only places that exist now, and it was actually only one, wasn't it, Mark? And then they released some in these other areas.
Well, they were only in Meeteetse, Wyoming.
Right, that's where they found them.
And they were all captured. That whole population they were thought to be extinct before they found a rancher's dog brought like a dead one in.
Yeah.
And so they were thought to be extinct before that, and they found them. They were the most rare mammal in the world.
Yeah, there was only, well, go ahead.
And they captured that whole population. And and they have reintroduced them to. I'm not seeing. I'm trying to figure out where this map is.
Well, let me show you. Let me a little bit here. This big
I
dot
can't-
says it's.
Well, that's clear. That's over in the Dakotas.
Oh, that is. That says Pine
Nebraska.
Ridge Reservation. That's on
The biggest population of them probably is in the Shirley Basin in Wyoming.
So that'd be.
But they've been reintroduced to their original capture site back in Meeteetse. So there's a lot of dots missing off this map.
Yeah, well, I don't know how old this map is.
They're in Colorado. They've put them down in Arizona and New Mexico. I think Western Kansas, but maybe not. Definitely the Dakotas, Nebraska. So yeah, they're trying, but finding good prairie dog populations is the key.
Yeah, and what I remember reading in the book was that one of the problems is prairie dogs can contract. I think it's distemper.
Well, they have plague.
Oh, plague. Yeah, that's right. It's
And
plague.
that's the big one.
And that was killing off the black-footed ferrets as well. And when they
get distemper from dogs.
Yeah.
And so distemper is an issue, but plague is the issue that really kills the prairie dogs off.
Which in turn kills off.
Which can kill ferrets as well, but
they start.
If you're a mammal, plague's a bad deal. But
hey, John remembers when they found those.
Yep.
They what I remember was when they first located the group, they thought there were about 30, but by the time they got them all collected, there were only about 16 left because they had an outbreak of plague or distemper.
Distemper, yeah, it was distemper.
And just about wiped them out before they could get them in captivity.
And so we took them all into captivity, and they all went to our wildlife research facility at Sibyl Canyon. And the Game and Fish Department in Wyoming ran that program for years, and with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Good morning, Ron.
We had a breeding facility there and everything, and we had employees that their entire job was just either to survey for ferrets or to catch prairie dogs for ferrets. And people were always like, well, can't you teach them to eat like lettuce and vegetables, and can't you give them just dog food or whatever? And it's like, no, they eat what they eat, and they like it to be fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, and alive. They like it to be alive.
Well, I've got a cool picture next, I believe, that I thought was just. I like this one. It's just up in the air. That's typical weasel type, reaction to something. But I love this. What somebody's done, probably out there. This is a skeleton rebuilt of the ferret, and this is a prairie dog skeleton that it's captured. And I just thought that was neat as heck. I don't know who did that, but they did a good job.
Yeah, I don't know where that's at.
And that's a typical, that's exactly how they ought to be. And
But
this was just a good photo.
I bet those 2 live photos are at Sibyl. Maybe not.
Well, they might be. Are they still doing that at Sibyl?
No, they took that program to the Fish and Wildlife Service, took it over completely eventually. In the 90s, as I recall, and they took the whole captive breeding program south into Colorado.
That's right. That's right. Uh-oh. Ron, I'm not even going to ask what kind of toys, but I'm going to assume it's something like maybe it's Legos or something. So anyway, I'm going to move to the next photo while he's up. Ron, this don't have anything to do with you, but Brenda and I were, cameras and accessories. Cool. That does sound like fun. We were watching Mrs. Brown last night, and they had a burglar issue next door, and they stole the daughter's favorite. This is a comedy. If you guys have ever seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But it was very funny. And what they'd stolen from her was all of her favorite personal toys. Well, anyway, moving right along. And here's one of our favorite, mine and Brenda's favorite little mustelids. The sea otter. And if you've never watched the zoo programs that are on TV now on National Geographic, you've missed it. If you've never seen a baby sea otter, how big and fluffy and everything they are, you've just not lived. There's one on top of its mother, which I just think's neater than heck.
Well, and they're so cool because they're tool users too.
Yeah, they are.
They
I've got a picture of that, but
they
no.
They eat all kind of mollusks and sea urchins and things, and they mash them with rocks.
Yep. Which is, and they
use their chest as an anvil.
Yeah, and that rock, they tend to keep a rock if they find a good one they like and hang on to it.
Probably naturally. I mean, they were darn near wiped out with the fur trade at one point, and they've really come roaring back since they've got total protection now from harvest. But the white shark population, as it has kind of increased and exploded on the West Coast again, is working them over pretty hard. So,
that's not, well, I mean, that's natural, but that's not good. Their numbers aren't that great.
Yeah, they lose a lot of otters to white shark predation. So,
Rhonda, that's an interesting point. Rhonda lives in northern Georgia, which is not so far away from me. In the mountains up there in reservoirs. That doesn't surprise me. These are the river otters that you would see there. This is what we have here. And when Mark and I grew up in Tennessee, I don't know that there was an otter left alive unless it might have been out in West Tennessee. But we certainly didn't have them back here, and I can't get my foot to work. Hang on a minute. Have to pick it up once in a while. But they started releasing otters that they brought out of Florida and Louisiana. And now they've proven that there are otters in every watershed in Tennessee. And I'm sure by now, since that's been 20 years ago, that I had a professor that worked on that project. And they went out and checked all the watersheds and found latrine sites on every major watershed in the state. And they pretty much believe every body of water probably has an otter or has had one recently, if not now. And they're kind of neat. I mean, I love to see them, but of course, dock owners don't like them because they raid their minnow buckets and their minnow holding tanks if they get a chance, because they're fish eaters. And the other thing they like to do is they use latrine, what they call a latrine site. So once they create a place for everybody, all the otters go to the bathroom at the same place. So you can only imagine how that smells after a while, especially since all they eat is fish. But I won't go into detail on that. But they're kind of messy. But I love the fact that they're back and they're back strong. The first one I saw here in the wild was in the Smokies. We were hiking one day and there was one in a pool of water in the park. Probably fishing for. Hopefully, it was eating rainbow trout, but it could have been eating some natives. I don't know, but they can eat all the rainbows up there they want.
We have them thick out here in places. They're really common in Arkansas when I went to school there. All those, like right behind the house, there was otters. And my wife has seen a group of them here on the river on our property. And I think I was telling you about that, where she saw otters one day, and I had my brother-in-law here shortly thereafterward, and I was telling him about her seeing otters, and we drove by the river there on our property, and he goes, there's the otter. And there was a great big old fat coon wandering down the bank. I'm like, yeah. And he lives in Texas, and I'm like, you Texans, your view of an otter and my view of an otter are two different things.
Yeah. Texans, what can you say? But anyway, yeah, good luck with that, Rhonda. If I read that correctly, that you might be using the camera for somebody. And I love this. Tina said, Chuck, her husband, just asked if my friend from Tennessee is on. I said, yes. He said he should have known. He should have known that since I'd shown him the Badgers. So if she's showing pictures of wildlife, she probably knows it's us. But these guys are a lot. I mean, to watch them frolic around is fun. I can remember seeing films of otters out west growing up that were just, I thought they just fascinated me.
Well, they come out so down like by the town my son lives in, down by Green River. The Green River proper flows through town there, and you'll get holes in the ice in the wintertime, and you'll see river otters out there on the snow. They're just having a good time. They're just running up banks and sliding down, and
they seem to love to slide down hills.
They love to play.
That's true, Tina. Dawn might be listening, but I just have to take my chances. So anyway, that's the lovely otter. They've got beautiful pelts, but we won't go there. And then we get to that animal that's no longer in. Well, actually, no, they're no longer associated. They're no longer considered a mustelid, which I just find hard to believe, because to me they were like the original mustelid. They're the musky. They get that.
Yeah, they're the one that the whole thing was named.
Yeah, I mean that's where the name comes from. But I put this albino one in because every once in a while an albino like this pops up somebody's got for a pet, which I just never. I don't know if I ever really thought that was. I've always heard that's not a great idea. I don't know if that's true that they carry rabies dormant, but I don't know if I'd want to take the chance.
There's a concern about them. When I worked in Arizona, they were banned as a critter that you could own, and people would move to Arizona that would have skunks as pets. And it was like, no, that's not, because of the threat of rabies. It was like, that's not happening. And got into some big old legal battles down there over skunks, which was always interesting to me.
Yeah.
I can remember we don't, the department up here in Wyoming, we never dealt with skunks. Are not a protected creature. So the department never really dealt with them, except in a few larger cities where, somebody would get a skunk in a window well or something, and we'd end up going over there and catching it and moving it. And we caught I was just talking about that little dog earlier, that liver-colored dog. I caught a skunk one time that was that same color, had a kind of a,
Really?
like a chocolate lab color, with that same color nose, and interesting looking critter. And I figure it probably was a pet of somebody, but it darn sure wasn't descented, because the girls at the office told me as soon as I walked in the building that they knew what I was doing. I didn't smell it, but they could.
Well, you've been around skunks too much. I can remember when you had a job of catching skunks.
I did.
Rhonda said, "Kitty, kitty, kitty."
My
That's
truck in Kentucky smelled like bobcat urine and skunk musk.
Yeah. How do you take skunks from the Musk Club? Well, that's my question. And Tina, I'll tell you how they do it. And it's all science, because they can put them under a microscope now and check genome and count, chromosomes and all that kind of stuff. And they've reclassified all kinds of things in the fish world. They've
done that forever. I mean, it's
but they can do it. But
well,
they
this
go
one's
deeper.
got 79 lateral line scales instead of 78. So it's got to be a different species.
Well, sure, but now they can take it even deeper because
I know. It's just ridiculous. It gets to be ridiculous.
It is. And Tina or Rhonda said, I delivered to someone once and said, "I think you have a skunk." She said, "No, it's the neighbors." I was like, "Oh, okay." That's not a good sign. Tina, by the way, did you see that Ian was in the room?
Holy buckets.
Yeah, Ian's here. Welcome in, Ian. Have you been sneaking around in the background all this time? Sounds like our vet's office when we pulled into the parking lot last year. Was it from there, or was it one of your hounds that got hold of a skunk? I could tell you a few skunk stories, probably already have. So anyway, these are my favorite skunks. These spotted.
That's such a cool animal.
And another really neat thing about them is they stand up like this to spray sometimes. I don't know if they do that all the time, but a lot of times this is how they spray. If they're up on their front paws walking, you don't want to get behind them. And
they just do that as a display, like, I'm going to spray if you don't leave me alone.
If you don't get out of here.
They'll do that little clown walk, get up on their front feet.
Isn't that an interesting?
I just think that's a cool, and they're little compared to a striped skunk. They're little bitty guys.
Yeah. Well, we've got them supposedly here, the eastern version. And I know people that said they've seen them, but I've never seen one in the woods in my life. But
so I've only seen them in catch alive traps around our bird farm over in eastern Wyoming, the pheasant farm over there. We catch them in live traps over there, but they're present here, even right here around the house, but I've never seen one in the wild here.
Never had one in your chicken house, huh?
No. I thought we had one last year, but it turned out not to be we had the game warden over one day, and I said, "There's a skunk in the chicken house, and I think it's a spotted skunk." And we went out there, and it wasn't.
Mm. Doug has no favorite skunks.
Yeah, it was a striped skunk that sprayed you.
Before they pull. Yeah, they do. Most skunks will give you a chance to get the heck out of there. They'll turn around and pull that tail up. They don't spray. They usually don't spray immediately, but if you keep messing with them, they'll sure let you have it.
Sometimes your wife can be standing right next to one in the chicken house and thinks she's in there just for a brief second with the dog.
Yeah.
And it turns out it wasn't a dog. what she was feeling wasn't like a dog lifting its leg.
Oh no! So I take it she got
And
sprayed.
she comes in running into the house, and she tells her husband, who she's looking for sympathy from, who's been sprayed a gazillion times. She comes running in like, I think I just got sprayed by a skunk. And I'm like, yes, you darn sure got sprayed by a skunk.
No thinking about it. Oh, I had to adjust my cushion. Sorry, guys.
And unfortunately, it was in the chicken house, so it was a fatal mistake. So,
Oh, yes, I do remember it, Tina. I've forgotten about that. Well, I was thinking they'd been sprayed, but I couldn't remember when and what it was, but now I do. But anyway, that's our, you know, the Mustela that's no longer a Mustela, apparently. And these little guys are cool. The first one of these I ever saw in the wild in Tennessee that I know of was with you on Stewart Creek back behind our house.
oh, yeah.
We had a mink running down along the bank. In fact, I think you were with me one day and we saw like a mother with two young
Yeah.
running along with her. And they were
That
hunting.
was on the Stones River.
Okay. But I never even knew we had them. I had one run across in front of me in the Smokies one time. I was riding a bike. We were riding bicycles around the park, and I about wrecked because you know how I am when animals run out in front of me in the road. I tend to want to stop and take pictures or something, like a camper van and a tarantula. If you remember that.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've been seeing one. We've got them here in the yard pretty regularly. And because we live right here on the river, and we've got an irrigation ditch right against the yard.
Yeah, and you got chickens.
And we had I had a dog that a half hound dog that treed one on our fence one day, and then he treed one down in a willow on the river, and they scream at you. They're I think they're probably the original banshee.
Maybe.
The banshees wail, and we've got a great big male that I keep seeing right here, just outside our gate on the irrigation ditch this summer. So they're neat critters.
Sorry, I didn't come back on there.
He's been catching crawfish there in the ditch right there by the house.
They're neat. And I got this picture of some babies.
No, look at them.
And over here we got the I put these footprints in because if you notice, and Mark told me this a long time ago, they hunt along waterways and stuff, but they're not swimmers. They don't have webbed feet. They do
swim.
Yeah,
but they're not web footed.
Right. They're not just natural water animals. They don't, they're not like a mink. They're not living in the water and coming out to hunt. They're hunting and then they get in the water when they need to. But I just thought I'd put that on there. And down here, I hope this doesn't offend. I'm sorry if it does. So be it. But these are variations of mink skins and the different colorations they come in. It's pretty varied. And I got to go get a cushion or something, guys. Hang on. I'm going to black out again, but I'll still be here. And I'll flip to this next picture. Well, hell, that wasn't the picture I wanted to put up.
But look at those teeth. God dang.
Yeah, but because this is just, I brought this back just to talk about the badgers themselves.
You think they can't hurt? They couldn't do some damage right there. Look at the canines on that guy. That one picture there says got the badgers pairing up the coyotes. I've actually seen that.
Tell us about that a little bit. I thought that was interesting that they had that on there, and I think I've heard.
Well, I've seen them running together out in the sagebrush. You know, you got coyotes that are covering a lot more country and bumping stuff, and
Right.
badgers taking advantage of that. And I've seen other species work with coyotes like that before, apple motto falcons and all kind of cool things. But
that's fascinating to me when animals, especially of different species, pair up to hunt like that. That's
they're certainly able to defend themselves from a coyote.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a mountain lion, it'd be a different deal. But
is mountain lion their only real predator?
Well, I don't know. I think golden eagles eat them.
Oh well, yeah, that's true.
Historically, probably wolves ate them, but you got to be pretty desperate to eat a badger, I think. I mean, they smell. They're all these mustelids have scent glands, just like a skunk, but not as potent or as accurate.
But they can leave a foul taste in their mouth.
But when your trapping partner cuts a scent gland on a mink in his mama's basement while she's having a Tupperware party, you gotta go running. You gotta go running out the basement door.
Who would that have happened to, huh?
So Troy had that little room down there. It was an unfinished room in the end of their basement we'd skin in. And we trapped a big old mink and he was skinning it and slipped. It was his first skinning of a mink and he slipped on the gland. And Tony was having a Tupperware party upstairs and I heard, Troy!
Funny that they knew who to yell at right away.
And I took out running out the back door of the basement and left.
So you left him.
Totally abandoned him.
That's a friend right there. Oh, but that's a close-up of the twofers. And these are just a couple of better pictures. This is a good picture of a badger up here at the top. And look, they're built like in some ways they're built kind of like an armadillo or something. They're really low to the ground, and like I said, they got a mouthful of twofers, and they don't have a goofy look on their face at all. They mean business.
And I cannot believe, I've watched dozens of them. I can't believe how fast they can just burrow completely out of sight and they're gone.
That's what I mean. Armadillos are like that too. They can burrow really quick.
But these guys, they've got enormous front claws, and it's hard. It's not like nice soft dirt out here in the West. And they'll get in a prairie dog burrow or a ground squirrel burrow, and just and they're huge compared to that burrow, and they're just gone. Just a few seconds, they're gone.
Well, you can see on that one that's walking at the top picture there, and you can see its front left foot, and you can see the size of the claw. It looks like a Plains grizzly bear walking if you could, magnify the size.
They burrow. They tend to like just dig down under the soil into a ground squirrel burrow or something, and then they just turn around in there.
Yeah,
and you can go over and be at the hole, and although they've kind of filled in behind them as they went down, but you can hear them in there like, you don't want to come over here and mess with me.
Brenda says it looks like they could eat bone and all. That's another thing about some of these guys, like a wolverine. I suspect like a badger. They've got extremely strong jaws.
No, they just eat everything.
Yeah.
Crushing bones. And
Yeah. And this is a fisher, or as some people call it, a fisher cat. And I don't know. These guys, I guess they'll eat anything they can catch, but don't they primarily eat porkies when they can find them?
they like porcupines and squirrels.
Yeah. They climb the trees and get up there where the porcupines are, and they can flip a porcupine over. As dangerous as a porky is, they can flip it over and get to its belly, which is where it's unprotected, and that's how they just gobble them down from there. And I guess, have you ever found the skin line out there where they eviscerated one and just left what was left they didn't eat, the bones and hide and the quills?
I never have. We've got the species in Wyoming, but not very many of them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, I never have. I think you go to, where Mike and Diane live, it's
Probably more of them, yeah.
fairly common animal. You go to Maine or places like that, they got them in abundance, compared. Now we have lots of these guys.
And this is a marten or a pine marten. Well, I guess there's different ones, or I don't know if there's a difference or if that's just what people call them. But these are martens. They're smaller. They're pretty much arboreal too, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they eat they eat some birds, but mostly squirrels. Red squirrels are their number one prey item. Some mice and things, but they spend most of their time up a tree. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the American marten is the pine marten. It's the same critter. We used to call them pine martens.
They've released some of these in the mountains here, I believe. Now,
Tennessee?
I believe they did. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't know if this was ever native.
I don't think it was a native species to Tennessee.
Well, I didn't either, but I was told that they did. Now, that could be misinformation, but I thought they did. But if they did, it might have just been in that upper peaky part of the mountains that are more northern-ish. But I don't know. They may not have.
Well, we've got tons of them here in Wyoming. They're pretty common. You go to the mountains in the conifer zone, they're a pretty common animal here. And they're very cool. But
and this
hang on, I gotta go.
Okay. I really like that picture of that one with the flower. I thought, well, that's a great pose. The one up the tree there is pretty cool. Well, they're both actually in a tree stump or something. But they're a neat animal. And they're weasel-like too. They're long, elongated bodies like that marten or the fisher was, this one. But they're not as big. These guys are bigger. And these guys, the reason they're called a fisher cat is they act like cats sometimes in trees and stuff. I guess that name came from folks that used to see them and thought they were related to cats. I don't know. Or he had to go. We'll wait a minute, see if he gets back. Kind of looks like a baby coyote on the left. Yeah, what kind of with his head? Yeah, or a fox pup. It could be too, with the way its ears are perked up and. Huh. And there him is.
Sorry, we had a chicken emergency.
Uh-oh. Badger?
No. Labrador.
Oh,
It's dealt with
um,
successfully.
and this guy right here is what I'd call it. I think this is what I'd call an ermine. And you're going to tell here because these guys start blending kind of together, and I forget which one's long tail and short tail. And
So there's 3 species of weasel in America: long tails, short tails, and least. And the short tail is the one they always called the ermine.
okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was the short tail.
They all turn white in the wintertime if they live in places where there's snow.
Right.
Probably where you're at, I think you've got long tails and least weasels, and they don't turn white in the wintertime because
Well, we don't have that.
they
kind
don't
of
have to.
down here.
But everywhere that there's snow, they turn snow white in the wintertime, and just their tails black tipped.
That's fascinating to me that a critter can.
Yeah, I think it's cool. One of the coolest things in nature. But and the least weasel is the smallest carnivore, true carnivore on the planet.
Mm.
You know, there's other things that eat meat that aren't in the order Carnivora.
Yeah.
Order? Is that order? Anyway, they're the smallest true carnivore.
Do they shed their hair and it grows white, or does it change colors physically?
I don't know. I suspect it's a shedding thing, but
Well, and snowshoe hares do it also in the where they are, and for the same reason, camouflage. And of course, the weasel's doing it so he can hunt better. The rabbit's doing it so he can hide.
yeah, and our white-tailed jackrabbits turn snow white too in the wintertime.
Oh, do they? I didn't know they did it.
And Arctic hares and snowshoe hares.
What did I say?
Arctic hares are a different species from snowshoes,
Oh,
but they do the same thing.
Are they? They're not as big, are they?
Now what's going on? Probably got people here.
They have.
Hang on.
Well, I'll move on to the next picture and show you a couple of more weasels. And I don't know which one's which here, so I'm just going to say these are weasels. I can't remember. I don't know if I can pull the ID up on these or not.
Woof.
Woof, woof. Anyway, here's a couple more. And
that's a critter that is very efficient at what it does for a living.
Yes, they are.
Which is kill other animals and eat them. Sometimes, many times, their own size.
Yeah, and sometimes just for fun. Or maybe not just for fun. It's putting a human feeling towards it, but maybe it's more. Maybe they do that to have a store of meat later. I don't know, but
I don't think so. I think they just get into that mode.
They get into a blood frenzy.
Kind of like a grizzly bear and a band of sheep. Sometimes it's just like, man, look how easy these things are to get. And they do.
Some more. Oops. I think I got a picture next that you're going to appreciate. Yeah, right here.
Got him a chipmunk.
Yeah.
There's several chipmunks.
And can you see whose this drawing is? Or do you know?
That's by Ernest Thompson Seton, I'll bet.
It is Ernest Thompson Seton. He's cleared out the whole nest of chipmunks here. He's killed them all. This is what we were just talking about. They get into a killing frenzy or a hunting frenzy, and they'll just kill, the whole crowd if they can catch them. And that's what they'll do in a hen house.
And they're not they're not a critter that stores meat and eats it, you know.
Like a
They
cat.
like it fresh.
So they in our way of looking at it, they just kill for fun, kind of like us, I guess, in a way. But they can be pretty vicious when they're in this mode. But I found that ETS picture, and I knew you'd appreciate that.
They're another one of those critters. My grandpa always said, like, they'll start up one pants leg and come out the other, and, and bite you like a million times.
On the way. Carol said that looks like her with a bag of potato chips.
Ah. Ah.
Brenda says, "Do you keep your chips hidden from everybody, Carol?" Now we're getting into other issues. All right, moving to the next picture. Here's my favorite mustelid.
I have a good friend that we call him Gulo.
Gulo?
Yeah, you know, they're Gulo's their scientific name.
Gulo.
And he's the head of our large carnivore program here in Wyoming, and the head grizzly bear mountain lion guy, and he's always had kind of an interesting, like, mutton chop mustache kind of a deal going, and they nicknamed him Wolverine a long time ago.
I just think these are fascinating critters. I like this flag. This is supposed to be I can't remember where this flag came from, but it is a Wolverine. And these guys pretty much span the globe in the northern hemisphere, in the upper boreal forest of the northern hemisphere. And as far as I know, they're the same critter in Europe and Asia as they are here.
Exact same species.
And this animal, I've read about. I think this animal is. I mean, these guys aren't afraid of anything. I mean, they'll take on a grizzly bear if that grizzly bear is trying to get its food. And
they've taken kills away from grizzly bears.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's saying something.
That is. And I read a story recently about the difference between a wolverine and the legendary honey badger, and from Africa, and which is noted, not to be afraid of anything. And one guy said the honey badger might win a face-to-face battle because it's lighter and quicker. But I tell you what, I would not hesitate to put my money on a wolverine at any time against just about anything, because they're fascinating. They got their jaws are super strong. They've got a mouthful of teeth. They got big old digging claws. I mean, they're just
haircut, boy.
They're just amazing. Hey, you did get company. Hey, Boone.
There's Boone.
Boone Thomas.
That's Tim, Uncle Tim.
Hi, Boone. How are you today?
Yeah.
Tim.
Do you want coffee or do you want to check out? No, Peter's on his way over and we're
He'll get it.
we didn't see Sam.
I just learned something. Hey, whose dog is that? Whose dog was that?
That's Boone's dog.
Oh, that's Boone's dog. Yeah, I forgot he got a dog. That's his.
Boone and Crockett.
That's right. That's the Crockett. That's his.
That's Crockett.
Cowboy corgi.
He's a cowboy corgi. Go on, Nate.
Which is a mix of
He's got a little healer in him. He's got corgi and something else. Border collie, maybe.
So he might turn out to be a smart dog too.
He's a good boy. That's as good a puppy as I ever met. What are you yapping about?
Well, let's move on here. And here's a close-up picture of the. Look at the chompers on that guy. Whew. I mean, even his grinding teeth's got points on them.
Yeah, they're pretty good at disassembling creatures
Yes, they are.
and bones and whatever. There's
How are you,
Samuel.
Hey, Sam.
Tim? How are you?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
Hanging in
Look
there.
at that trophy beard.
I see it. I wish mine looked that good.
I don't know how often you shave, but I shave every October 29th because that's my wife's birthday. And that's the only time I go clean shaven.
Oh, I haven't been clean shaven since my daughter was born in '82. It just doesn't grow out enough. I wish it was a lot thicker, but it is what it is, so I accept it.
That beard is older than I am.
Thanks, Sam.
That's a fact.
Sam.
That's a fact. I was
Okay.
going to say it was older than that because I've known you forever and you've always had a beard of
Yeah, there you go. Well, Jennifer was born in 1982, and I haven't shaved since then.
something.
They've never seen me. Neither one of my kids have ever seen me beardless. Carol says they have a Wolverine Brewing Company, and they have a beer called Gulo Gulo. Now I understand why. Okay, well, hey.
I was just telling him about Thompson's nickname, Gulo. Sam used to work for Thompson for our large carnivore guy that we call Wolverine. So,
Hey, Michelle, welcome in. I didn't see you pop in.
back when Samuel was doing like the Lord's work and trapping grizzly bears and
Yeah.
I've got some great photos of him like laying next to a sleeping grizzly bear. He was doing foot snares and catching bears and putting radio collars on bears and moving bears if they were getting in trouble. And
Were they using a pole stick to not to give them a shot, or were they shooting them?
no.
Okay. Well,
You don't get that close to a bear in a foot snare because they use that foot snare as a slingshot.
Oh, well, they do black bears that way here.
Well, black bears you can sneak up on and give them a jab,
Yeah.
and they almost always try to get away from you. And grizzly bears pull back on that snare, that cable snare,
And come at you.
and then they pull it tight, and they hide behind a tree. And then when you get close, they come roaring out.
Oh.
I use the pistol.
And then you can test how good your bowels are.
How good your sphincter control is.
If you got some control or not.
There you go, Carol. You just learned something else. Write that one down. So, did Sam ever get I don't guess he would have got to work. What were those guys in Idaho that did all the grizzly bear research? I can't remember their name.
The Craigheads.
The Craigheads.
Yeah. Did any of your people you've worked for work with them anytime?
I think they were mostly. I mean, they still have an institute that still does bear work, but the boys are gone.
That's what I thought. I figured they were, but I didn't know if maybe somebody he worked for had known them or worked with them.
And it's funny because they started out doing like raptor stuff, and then they ended up in the bear business.
Ian says you haven't lived till you tested your bowel control. It actually kind of goes along with the yellow jacket thing.
When one of them big devils comes roaring out, you'll test them. Pistols are a way better way of delivering a dart.
Yeah. Michelle said, "Did you see the video of the bear swimming in the ocean in Florida with the crowded?" No, I don't think I did. But that doesn't surprise me too much. There's getting to be more and more bears down there in some places. There's always been. I always thought it was funny years ago when the show Gentle Ben was on, because that was in Florida, and that kid had a black bear in Florida, which I never thought were there back then. But
Well, and if you've ever seen the movie The Yearling, where the kid in Florida had that white-tailed deer fawn it raised up, they were always hunting bears and things in that.
I didn't realize that was in Florida.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, it was in that country, in that cracker country where the cracker cowboys, in that Palmetto country.
Yeah. Michelle says she thinks she'll watch that after they get back from Florida. I mean, Carol said that.
Well, there are places, like in the Okefenokee and places where bear numbers are actually pretty high.
Yeah.
But,
well,
most of the state of Florida doesn't have bears anymore.
Oh, well, it's
they
may have one through, but it's so overpopulated now in places that there would have been a habitat that it's yeah, you're right. Which made me think of something. Now I can't think of what I was going to say. Well, Michelle says she couldn't believe people kept swimming next to it, but that's just like the idiots that want to pet the bison, or the idiots here in Smoky Mountains that think they can just walk up and put their hand on their head or something and take a photo with them. They're just ridiculous.
Well, I mean, people have just been, I don't know. They've received the wrong education on what critters are actually like. So
that's the end of my slideshow. My goodness, that was. Well, I know everybody will join me in thinking, well, that just went by too fast. Right, Ian? Oh, Ian's right on this. Right, Ian's right on the thing here about and Carol has a good question. Maybe the shark will eat the bear, or the bear will eat the shark. I'd say a shark big enough would probably reach for a leg on a bear. They'd probably think it was some kind of other animal. I mean, if it's in the water, it's pretty much fair game for those guys.
Yeah, and they'd be way more successful.
Yeah. Idiots and the bison, always on the news over here. I bet, Ian. And somebody else said something that made me think of a story. As long as they're not becoming a shark bear. That's what's happening. They're crossbreeding great white sharks and black bears. Oh,
so my God. I was watching that some of those shark programs yesterday on the Shark Fest, and they literally had a show on about cocaine being in the water and causing sharks to behave abnormally. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, we had the cocaine bear, now they're cocaine shark. I'm like, are people just idiots?
Pretty much, yeah. Can you imagine how much cocaine it would take in the ocean to actually have
actually affect? And they were talking like they were serious scientists, and I'm like, you've got to be joking.
Oh well, so be it.
I know.
What else is going? Brenda says there are people in the Smokies that will try to get close to I think she meant to the bears or the deer during rut. Yes, I've seen them. Yes, we've had buck deer attack people here too because they think they can walk up to them during the fall because they're all out in the fields, and they'll they find out different pretty quick, and they're lucky if they don't get mounted. Oops,
Or gored.
or gored.
Yeah.
Is Cocaine Shark the sequel to Cocaine Bear? It could be, Ian. It sounds like it's a possibility. Carol said we can only hope.
We're gonna sit down and
He wants to. Here you. There's chairs.
I've never been on this before.
Sam or the Boone, which one's wanting on?
Well, I'll get on there. We'll both
He
will.
wants.
Hey, Boone.
I've never been on this before,
He-
but
he-
I heard you talking about bears, and I'm the local expert.
That's right.
That's right. There you go.
I could tell you a story or two.
And but we were talking mustelids.
We started out talking Mustela.
We've been talking about mustel. Do you need up here? Come here, buddy.
Well, mustelids are what got me into bear trapping.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I caught a badger one time and figured if I could deal with that thing,
Well,
Could
that's a
probably
good-
handle a grizzly bear. My God, I just got creatures crawling all over me. Boone and Crockett.
Boone and Crockett. Crockett's probably chasing his boy.
How come you got your feet on the wrong side?
Hey there, Crockett.
did
He's a true Lockwood kid. He can't. He's got his boots on backwards.
Oh no.
did Mark tell you Crockett got his or Boone got his first gun a couple weeks
I don't
ago?
know. I don't know if he did or not. I know he had a bow for his birthday.
Well, he got a 22. He won
He
it.
won it.
How's that?
He got it. So we were at a Bighorn sheep banquet, and everybody under 12 got put in for a raffle for a cricket 22.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
And he won it.
And he
I
won it.
know.
He's got 22. In Wyoming, we just give guns to kids.
Yeah. Well, they kind of did that in Tennessee too, so we understand. I get it. we at least had a BB gun or a pellet gun by the time we were 6.
As long as you could hold both ends up, it was legal.
That's right. That's a fact. I was going to say something about that. Oh, well, he'll be. I mean, I know it's too young, but those things are small.
Wyoming, Ian said.
What? Oh, where did he say that?
So, yeah.
Wyoming. Mike, congratulations.
Mike is from Canada, and he's like, congratulations, bud. You're making a big old noise here, buddy.
Yes, that's a little bolt action, isn't it?
I think,
Yeah,
it's a little single shot bolt.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
And it's actually the chipmunk, not the cricket.
Not the cricket.
Okay, well, that's what I was thinking about was a chipmunk. That's why I didn't know if it was bolt action. I've seen I guess that's what I've actually seen. And that's what my first real rifle was a bolt action. But it was a Remington. It was full size. I still got it. That's my squirrel gun. That's a tack driving SOB.
Tack driver. I've seen it. I've seen you in action.
Well, and I texted Mark and said, "Hey, Boone just wanted a chipmunk," and Mark's reply was, "That rifle has killed many a sassy squirrel."
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Because
indeed.
my cousins Brad and Tommy both had one. And
Really?
I've seen many a squirrel fall to those little rifles.
Martin grew up wielding a single shot crack.
That's what. Yeah, that was mine.
Yeah.
You're the new favorite YouTuber, buddy.
Yeah, if I can put your name on here, Boone, you might run my subscription rate right up out.
I was talking about him yesterday at a work deal we were doing, and I said Boone, and this old guy from the South goes, "Oh, you're talking about your child, not a dog?"
Well, that kind of goes hand in hand too. I can see
Oh
how.
my goodness. Many a sassy squirrel.
Yeah.
So Ian, that comes from, and you probably know this. That's a Lonesome Dove quote. I've shot many a sassy bandit with nothing more than my pistol.
The only guns in our house are Nerf guns and water guns. I feel left out.
I feel left out for you, Mike. Holy buckets, my grandson is.
Here, come here. Let's get a snack, buddy.
He's handling the computer.
Uh-oh.
Hey, won't you go? You can't, it's not a keyboard, buddy.
He might handle it better than his grandpa.
Yeah, he probably would. Get you something to eat.
He probably already knows more about it. Ian says it's been a while since he's seen. I guess he's referring to Lonesome.
It's time for a viewing, Ian.
Yeah, time to watch it again. I need to do that too. I need to get it on a DVD or something and see if I can't catch it. Oh, speaking of that, not a DVD, but look here what I ordered after class. Was it last?
Oh,
week?
nice. No, that's the book.
That's the book. Yes, it is. You got a copy of it?
Well, mine's got feathers and whatnot in it.
Oh, well, that's even better. I hadn't had a chance to do that to mine yet. I'll get some.
I have two books on the table here with me. 3 actually. I got one Write in the Rain notebook that I use to capture random thoughts and recipes and birds that I see. And I've got a Peterson's Western Birds of the United States, and I've got that camp cooking book. So,
well, I thought this would probably be interesting since it was, Forest Service guys out in the woods or maybe man and power.
There's some great stories in there.
Yeah, I haven't really sat down to go through it and read it all yet, but I'm anxious to do that. I want to try some stuff out here, and it's kind of like getting a recipe from Kent Rollins or something. You almost guarantee it's going to be good because these guys were making some of these meals to feed firefighters and stuff like that. So
yeah, and Packers. There's some of them are really old recipes and some of them are newer. Tina says that Chuck just watched Lonesome Dove last week.
Oh my goodness. There you go. I just finished Brenda may not know this yet, but I just finished the English, which I thought took a really kind of a strange turn at the end, but I won't give it away if anybody's in, but it was a really good show. I like how they did it, but
Is that the one where the Pawnee guy? That's a good movie.
Yeah, it's
a good series.
Well, they listed it as season 1, 6 parts, but I'm not sure how they could do a season 2 unless they brought in brand new characters and did something similar. But
yeah, I think it was just the one off kind of deal.
Thing too.
One and done. What are you seeing? My grandson has got the stare going on outside. I don't know what's happening, but
maybe
you need to eat your banana.
Maybe he's learned that from watching the dogs.
Could have. He's kind of on point. Won't you eat that banana? I don't want that banana. There you go.
You try to take it away from him, he'll eat it then. Or he'll hand it to you.
Boudreaux is about to take it away from him.
I bet he is. Oh me.
Anyway.
Well, it's afternoon. I guess I ought to cut people loose, and it looks like you're getting busy, so I don't want to. But
It's just a constant string. I got wet dogs all over him. Wet, soaking Chesapeake Bay retriever.
Is it raining, or has he been down the river?
No, he's been in the irrigation ditch. I got mosquitoes flying all around me. There's water all in the house.
So Brenda said, "So Mike, which do you prefer, the Nerf gun or the water gun?" I wish one of those Nerf guns would be a lot of fun, actually.
We had a birthday party for the middle granddaughter last week, and one of the kids discovered that there was a super soaker squirt gun in the house. And oh my goodness, did people get wet?
I've got one of those that I shoot squirrels with.
You can shoot people clear across the yard with one of those things.
Yeah. Is that the kind that pumps and you like?
Yeah, and then you pull the trigger and you can hit. It's like a water hose.
I shoot squirrels with mine out the back window. I was doing that for a while, and you hit one square in the face with a stream, and they'll take off pretty quick.
Get them off the bird feeder.
I was wanting to put food dye or something in there so I could paint them, and then I'd know which ones were which.
I bet he hasn't done a damn thing to that house other than sit in it.
Well, no, he said that he's prepped it for people.
Tell Sammy he's going to have to come over one Saturday morning and sit down and tell us some stories.
Here.
We'll do that.
Here you go, buddy.
He'll come over and tell you some bear tales.
Yeah, that's what
Roping bears and trapping bears and
who did the
people getting eaten by bears.
Oh yeah, good stuff. Who did the famous? Wasn't there a painting showing somebody roping a bear?
Charlie Russell did it.
Russell, okay, I knew somebody did.
Yeah, they got it. There's like 3 cowboys got a grizzly bear roped.
From my experiences, it don't work that way.
It's not that. It's not that.
I kind of thought that too, Sammy, but I wasn't going to say.
His experience is that you chase it across the meadow, and your little cow pony thinks it's a calf for a little while, and then it turns around and stands up, and the little cow pony decides maybe he should unload you.
Yeah, that ain't a calf anymore.
Like, oh, calves don't do that. They don't have claws.
What was it you said?
But you look cool for a few minutes. Yep, you look really cool for a few minutes. And people are just wowed that like you're chasing a bear across a meadow with a rope.
And then you get at.
Well, you just get unloaded.
What was it you said a while ago? You can't push hard enough on that rope.
You can't push hard enough on a rope to keep it off of you.
And that fits well with a bear.
And they had a little black bear that was visiting camp.
Oh.
And Sammy's boss was like, maybe you should make that bear go away. And he thought he'd try to put a loop on it.
And we'll have to hear that story.
But we'll let him tell it someday in all of its glory.
Michelle said Gabriel would love a super soaker. And then my wife had to go in there and make it an R-rated show again. You could have a wet t-shirt contest with the squirt gun. Maybe she's talking to Mike. He said, good idea. What did Diana have to say about that?
Only a hillbilly would say you could have a wet t-shirt contest with a squirt gun. Sorry, I'm
A
feeding my
female.
kid.
I was with
There's a happy boy right there.
I was with the dog, so I may have missed it, but they have a new water gun that looks like it's from Star Trek. It draws the water up and then shoots. So I hadn't seen that one, I don't think. But that would be a fun squirt gun. Oh, I thought we had something coming. It had her jet. Sometimes they sound like they're coming right in the back door. Michelle said, "Shh, she don't want that to get around." Hey, I didn't know this till just a few minutes ago. I can unmute. I can unmute Mark and listen in. He doesn't know that.
Down syndrome.
I think
Well,
National Down Syndrome Day.
I can do this, and then I can do that.
discussing her T-shirt that's National Down Syndrome Day. It's got the coolest slogan on it. Does your homie have an extra chromie? Because she's, she doesn't deal with. She gets to teach young children like that. And
Does she have a autistic shirt also?
I don't know. I think one of the mothers of one of her students provided the T-shirts that she's wearing right now.
Oh wow! I just saw the squirt gun she's talking about. That looks pretty cool.
They both are.
Botonator.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You're the smilingest young and ever.
That looks pretty cool, Rhonda. It draws the water up in easier. That'd be good because that's kind of a pain to film usually. That's not the video though. Oh, okay.
How come you got your boots on backwards?
Wait a minute. What's Brenda saying? You finished it, you turd. What do you mean? Did I finish something?
Huh?
You go do your thing if you're smart.
How come you got the boots
I'm
on
not doing
backwards,
anything with Mark, honey.
buddy?
Because he's a Lockwood.
He's a Lockwood.
He can hear you. Every one of you grandchildren do that.
Yeah.
Do they really?
Are your feet just shaped that way?
But he put his boots on all by himself this morning.
Oh, that's pretty good. He's not.
And backwards. They always, all of them, the whole bunch of them, all 5 of them put their boots on backwards.
But he put them on all by himself. Small victories.
And their winter boots, they look really hot.
They probably are. Oh wow. That does look like a cool squirt gun. I'd like to have one of those.
Backwards boots are going to be the next big social media trend. Wait and see.
we can attribute it to Boone. That might make me go viral.
The backwards boot family. But your feet get caught on the bushes that way, buddy.
Your toes trip. You make you trip on things.
Yeah, you can't slip through the woods as quickly.
White people have that problem bad enough as it is without adding to it.
Yeah, and I've discovered that most native people do too.
Oh, okay. So it's not true that they're all feet
No,
so they don't trip?
not at all.
That's another
Especially if you're horseback people.
another legend just foiled.
Legend of the fall. So
That's like
thanks,
Mark
Grandma.
knows from
Thanks for the
What do he do now?
This kid just makes me smile.
Well, that's good.
He's a good boy.
You know what the best part?
Grandma just gave him some more banana, and he's just grinning at her and talking.
You know what the best thing about Boone is?
He's sitting right here. That's the best thing about him.
Well, and then if he's not good, or you can send him home.
Yeah. Yes, you can go to the house, can't you? But he's never not good. That's the happiest youngin' I've ever met.
Well, that's good.
Yep. Oh, and he loves banana. Yummy.
Put some peanut butter on that banana.
Yeah, and he identifies as a boy.
And he identifies as a boy.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you pointed
A
that out.
boy, sometimes a grizzly bear, sometimes a tyrannosaur.
Yeah, well, I get that.
Yep.
Most kids go through that phase.
And he loves coming to Grandpa and Nonnie's home. Papa.
Well, that's a good idea. That way they can't hit you at all, and you can blast them once you get the hang of it.
You get the dollar store. What, Papa?
Now, I never thought I'd see the day when a youngin was calling you Papa.
Papa. Well, it happens to us all if we live long enough, I guess, brother.
Well, many of us anyway.
The bulk of us.
They're saying that Mike says that Boone's going to be on TikTok soon with his backward boots. He can put the camera near the floor, and he can, put his feet up one at a time and show the backwards, and then do a little dance. He will be an internet sensation.
Speaking of little kids and dancing, you need to go on YouTube and look at Baby Opie.
Baby Opie.
Yeah, he's a young native child that is doing some drumming and singing, and it's wonderful.
How's he spell the Opie?
Opie. O-P-I-E.
Okay, well, I'm just checking.
Yep.
There he is. Oh, he's only 4 years old, or at least he was.
He's fun to watch. He's fun to watch sing. And
Check that out.
it's like it's at the 2023 powwow, I think, and the announcer's like, "Can you imagine driving on the powwow highway for 8 hours and having Baby Up in the back seat singing the whole time?"
There he is, dressed up in full regalia.
Yeah.
He's
He's got a little river otter around his head.
Yeah, he does. And his neck, too, I think.
Grizzly bears. Big old plains grizzly claws.
Yeah. There's a kid with a turtle on the back of his.
Papa what? Papa what?
Well, guys, we're gonna start shutting down here just in a minute.
Sorry, I didn't mean to co-opt the.
Oh, you're done. No, it's been fun. I'm glad they showed up. It's good. I was gonna say so. Oh, I tell you what, it kind of reminds me of. I used to know a young lady that danced pretty good. She did the sharp-tailed grouse mating dance.
Well, and that they've been blaming me for a week or a couple weeks about teaching Boone the sharp-tailed dance, but he must have just got it through the ether or something, because
But you wouldn't dare do that, would you?
well, I didn't do it. So I don't know where he got it, but he
wow,
got it.
that's cool. I'll have to check out Baby Opie. He's got his own Instagram page, so
I've just seen the one video where he's singing there.
there's a bunch of things on here with him on.
This boy's got this banana in his hand, and he's just
Gripping it.
hey, don't eat his banana, bud.
Well, I'm gonna cut you loose, brother. I
Hey,
appreciate
brother, man.
I don't know what you have to send a picture of that dog if you go get it.
Yep, I'm waiting on a call. So
All right. Well, you take care and enjoy the young, and I guess he's gonna visit with you, or maybe not, but
he's going to be here this weekend. So and he's completely got banana all over his face now. So he's perfect.
well, he's
That's
fully
right.
engaged then in the banana eating.
You're perfect, aren't you, buddy? Yep, perfect. All right.
Carol, Diana says, "Moms don't use water guns. We use garden hoses." Yeah, moms cheat and they can because they're moms. All right, guys, we're gonna cut you loose. Mark, you have a good weekend. Bye, Sammy. Bye,
See
bye,
everybody.
Putting those hands on his head.
and all the other folks on there. And unicorns do it in style, Brenda. But anyway, see you guys next week. I hope you have a good weekend and what's left of it at least.
Wants me on the Saturday.
If anybody's on vacation or getting ready to be, just take care and where you're at. And I appreciate you being here, Ian. Thanks for showing. I hadn't seen you in a while. Michelle, thanks for. I know you have to get up early to do this. Go in there and pour a cup of water or something on Garrett and make him wake up. Doug, Diana, Mike, everybody have a great weekend. I really appreciate it. And I don't know how to turn that. There you go. You guys have a good Saturday. I appreciate you being here. I've had a ball. Thanks, guys.